Hello guys, welcome back to Maison African Motives, still on O-level mathematics. In this platform, we are going to focus on factorization, whereby we just want to actually work on the revision, how to factorize. So actually the basic part of factorization, we worked on separate videos. So make sure that you watch those videos that I've made before so that you can understand the basic part on how to factorize from 4 factors, 3 factors, and also the part of difference of 2 squares and also the quadratic factors. All right, so anyways, without wasting much time, guys, let us quickly rush through the questions that we are given. On question number 1, we are given to factorize completely. So what do we have here? We've given 8 x squared minus 8. Okay, so that's what you're given in this case. Factorize completely. Remember on your factorization, what you need is to actually factor out the highest common factor, provided that there is a highest common factor. So in this case, we have got 8x squared. This is a term, so you're referring to this as a term and 8 as a term. So between these two terms, do we have anything that is common? Yes, 8 is common, so that means we can factor out 8. If we factor out 8, it's actually dividing. The number that you factor out, you divide by 8. So it simply means we are going to be left with 8x squared divided by 8. Okay, so if we divide, we are going to remain with x squared. So this is going to be x squared minus the same thing. We divide 8 here and 8. So 8 divided by 8, which is going to be a 1. So you're going to remain with x squared minus 1. But take note, we are factorizing completely in this case. That's completely. So we are not yet done actually, because we understand from our basic concept of factorization that if we are given an expression that can be written in this form of a squared minus b squared, we can write this as a plus b into a minus b. Or someone can start with a minus b. It can be a minus b, a plus b. All you need is to have a and b in each bracket. One bracket is supposed to add and another bracket is going to subtract. And we can have this format of a squared minus b squared from this part of x squared minus 1. That's difference of 2 squares. So that means we are going to have 8 into, already here it's written in terms of a square, it's already x squared minus 1 is same as 1 squared. Take note, guys, that 1 squared is same as 1. So we are now having this procedure. We've got x and 1, which is same as a and b here. So that means our answer is going to be 8. Then we've got 2 brackets of difference of 2 squares. So we've got x and 1. So it's going to be x plus 1. Another bracket is going to be x minus 1. Or you simply ask yourself the square root of x squared, which is x, the square root of 1, which is 1. Then one bracket adds the square roots. The other bracket subtracts the given square roots. So that was it, guys. As you can see, our answer is now in simplest form. Okay, so let's move on to number 2, whereby we are given to factorize again, and we are given y squared into x minus 2 minus x plus 2. In this case, there was actually no need for you to expand the brackets, because remember, to factorize is to put in brackets, and already here, they are already calculated for us here, factored out y squared, and we got x minus 2 in this bracket. So what you simply need to do here is to continue from this part of factorizing. So we're having y squared into x minus 2. What you have to ask yourself is that from this part that is remaining of minus 2, minus x plus 2, what can you actually factor out from these two, so that we are going to have the same bracket as x minus 2? So that's the question. So if we factor out a plus, I want you to see what you're going to have. If we factor out a plus like this, the part is going to remain as minus x plus 2, of which it's not the same as this bracket. It's x minus 2 here, it's minus x plus 2. So that means we are supposed to factor out a negative. If you factor out a negative here, you're going to divide just like what we did previously. it's actually -1. It's not only a negative, but it's actually -1. So let me write it as -1. So you're going to do the same thing. You divide -x and -1, and that gives us a positive x. So this will be x. The same thing, we've got 2 divide by -1, which is going to be -2. So this will be -2. So as you can see, guys, the brackets are the same, x -2, x -2. If this part is the same, then we can factor out that common bracket of x -2. So if we factor out x -2 here, that means we are going to remain on this part with y squared, and from this part, we are going to remain with -1. Okay. Y squared -1 is the same as that part of x squared -1 that we had of difference of 2 squared. Remember, we said we can write this as y squared -1 squared. So that means that's a difference of 2 squares. So we are going to factor out, we are going to factorize again. You have 2 brackets for difference of 2 squares, which are affected by y and 1. So it's going to be y plus 1, another bracket, y -1. So it's done. We've got 3 brackets from this question. So these are some of the typical questions that you actually have on a difference of 2 squares. And actually, it's similar to question number 3. If we are to check, or if we are to consider question number 3, you can see that we are having the same thing. Let's just try to work out this together. It's 3 minus 12y squared. So you can see that 3 is common between 12 and 3. So you can factor out 3. That means we are going to have 3 divided by 3, which is 1, minus 12 divided by 3, which is 4, but there is y squared. Okay, so can we write in that same format of a squared minus b squared? Is it possible? So that's what you have to ask yourself in this case. Yes, it's possible because 1 is a perfect square, so it's going to be 1 squared minus 4 is a perfect square, which is same as 2 squared, and we've got y squared. All right, so these are the numbers that you're going to work with. On the first part, we've got a 1. On the other part, it's 2y. These 2 is actually the same. They are raised to the power of 2, all of them. So that means your answer is going to be 3 into the 2 brackets for difference of 2 squares. We've got 1 here and 2y. So it's going to be 1 plus 2y. Another bracket, 1 minus 2y. Okay, so that's it. From question number 3, we can simply see that it's the same as what we had on question number 1. Also on question number 2, it's just one and the same thing. All right, on question number 4, we are given again to factorize completely, and this is 2x squared plus ax minus 2bx minus ab. So whenever you're given 4 terms, I told you guys that you're supposed to group your terms. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you do, you're going to factorize by grouping. So what is that part of by grouping? You're supposed to make sure that from the first 2 terms, there is a common factor. On the last 2 terms, also, there is a common factor. That is by grouping. So let's check if we've got a common factor between these 2 terms. If we have to check, we've got x squared, and on this part, we've got x. So which means x is actually common here. So you can factor out x, which is our highest common factor. So if we factor out x squared, that means we have to divide 2x squared divided by x. So there are 2 of them here. So if we divide, we're going to remain with 1x. So it will be 2x. So we are going to have 2x plus, on the other part, there is ax. So it's ax divided by x. You divide by the number out of the bracket. So x and x definitely will cancel. That means you remain with a. So it will be 2x plus a. All right. From the 2 terms which are remaining, minus 2bx and minus ab, we can see that negative is common. We've got negative here, we've got negative here. So we are going to factor out this negative. And let's move on to the numbers and the letters that we have. B is common here, so which means we can factor out minus b. Okay, so after factoring out minus b, then we can divide minus 2bx divide by minus b. As you can see, minus cancel, b and b cancel. You remain with 2x. So this is going to be 2x. You do the same on minus ab. You divide again, minus ab divide by minus b. Minus and minus cancel. B and B cancel. That means you remain with a plus A. So it will be positive. Remember, minus and minus, that's a positive. So we can see that the brackets are the same. It's 2x plus A, 2x plus A. Then factor out that common bracket, simple like that. If we factor out 2x plus A, from the first part, you remain with x. On the other part, you remain with minus B. So it will be x minus B. Okay, let's check and see if this is our final answer. Do we have anything that is common? We do not have anything common. We do not have also difference of two squares. We do not have that difference of two squares part. So that means that's our final answer. Okay, so that was actually number 4, which is the same thing as number 5 here. So I want you guys to try number 5 and see if you are going to obtain the exact answer. So try number 5. Also on number 6, we've got our difference of two squares, that part that we had. But let's just see this question 6. Let me just work it so that we can learn something here. We could have applied our difference of two squares direct, but take note on this part because 36 is a perfect square. 4 also, it's a perfect square. P squared is a perfect square, but there is a common factor. Before that difference of two squares, we apply it. We are supposed to factor out the highest common factor, which is 4. 36 and 4. 4 is the highest common factor. So if I factor out 4, it's going to be 36 divided by 4, which is 9, minus 4 divided by 4, that's 1. So it's going to be 1p squared. But 1p squared, guys, is same as p squared. Okay, so that's one and the same thing. So on this part, yes, we can continue factorizing because that's a difference of two squares here. We've got a difference of two squares. 4 is 9 is a perfect square. So we're going to have 4 into 9 can be written as 3 squared minus p squared. So from your difference of two squares, you can note that this we've got 3 and here we've got a p. So one bracket is going to add. So it's going to be 4 into 2 brackets. So we are adding 3 and p. So it's going to be 3 plus p. Another bracket, you subtract 3 minus p. So that's your final answer. As you can see, we do not have anything common between these brackets that we have. Okay, so that was question number 6. Question number 7, it's actually a quadratic expression, which can be factorized in so many ways. We have got k squared plus 4k minus 21. If you are to check on the videos that I did, you check on factorization of quadratic expressions, especially on mathematics N2, you can see how I actually explained this part of quadratic expressions of this type, where the coefficient of the first term that we're having the coefficient of x squared here, the power of 2, the coefficient here is a 1. Whenever you have this type of equation, do not play around with this type of equation, working with the long way. You can just simply factorize it direct. How is this possible? Okay, this is what you're going to do. You simply have 2 brackets in this case. Okay, so from these 2 brackets, what you're going to do is you work with the part that is having the square here. In this case, we have got k squared. So one bracket, we put k, another bracket also a k. All right. So what you're going to do, please, guys, make sure that you understand this part. You work with the constant term, which is negative 21. So what you have to ask yourself is, what are the factors of negative 21? But from these factors of negative 21, if you add them, you must obtain this number that we have, which is a plus 4. So what are the factors of negative 21? So it's actually a trial and error concept that you have to work with, but not trying some of the numbers. Okay, so anyways, let's try this 7 and negative 3. We have got 7, negative 3, or negative 7 and 3. We've got negative 21 and 1, or it can be 21 and negative 1. So which part, because all these, they are factors of negative 21. But of all these factors, which part that when you add, you are going to obtain a positive 4 if you add? So that's going to be from this part of 7 and minus 3. 7 plus minus 3 simply means 7 minus 3. And 7 minus 3, that's a 4. So we have got these two numbers, which gives us negative 21 if you multiply them, but if we add them, they give you a 4, which is 7 and minus 3. So you simply have to add those numbers, plus 7 minus 3, like that is done. So that's what we actually had. So it's not like that's the only way. This is the shorter way. We can actually work it with the longer way. Yes, we're going to obtain the same answers. Let me just explain the longer way. K squared plus 4k minus 21. What you're going to do is find the factors. Actually, you have to multiply. Okay, we are now doing the longer way. So what you do is you multiply the first term to the last term. Okay, so if you multiply this, it's k squared and minus 21, which is minus 21k squared. You multiply the first term and the last term. After multiplying, what you're going to ask yourself are the factors of negative 21k squared. But these two factors, if you add them, they must give you this middle term, which is 4k. So we had those factors that we listed before. There was 7, but this time you're supposed to write k. Instead of having 7, it's now 7k and minus 4k. Minus 7k and 4k, like that. So that's what you're going to have, of which we saw that the factors, they were on 7k and minus 4k. So these are the two numbers. If you multiply 7, that's negative 3 actually here. This is negative 3, not 4, but 3. Okay, let's do this. This is 3, 3. Okay, 7 times negative 3, that's negative 21. 7 plus minus 3, that's a 4. So you substitute, this is the other way, guys, the longer way. So you substitute these two terms into the middle term, and your middle term is 4k. So that means this whole expression can be written as k squared. You substitute these two terms now. So if we substitute these terms, it is going to be plus 7k minus 3k minus 21, like that. So we have substituted the terms, the two terms into the middle term, 7k and 3k. 7 minus 3, that's 4k. So you can see we haven't changed anything. But if you are to check this type of equation, we are now back to what we did on question number 4, whereby we worked this one by grouping what we had when we've got 4 terms, because we've got 4 terms here. If we are to count the number of terms that we have, we've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can group these into 2. So separating these into 2, what is common for the first 2 terms, k squared and 7k? K is common, so you can factor out k. K squared divided by k, that is k, plus 7k divided by k, that is a 7. All right. On minus 3k and minus 21, what is common? Negative 3 is common here. So negative 3k divided by negative 3, that's a positive. Negative 7 divided by negative 3, negative 21 actually divided by negative 3, that's a positive 7. So the two brackets are the same, k plus 7, k plus 7 here. So you can simply factor out the common bracket of k plus 7. Then you write the other terms in the other bracket, k and minus 3 in another bracket. So it will be k minus 3. So that's it. On question number 7, that's another way, which is the same as the one that we got, the same answer, but different ways. On number 8 now, you do not have option. You are supposed to apply the longer way. On number 8, there is no way. You are supposed to apply the longer way, the one that we actually did from this previous question. Okay, let's just work out and see what we have here. This is 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. So like I said, there is no way on this one. Apply the longer way, whereby we said we multiply the first term to the last term. So it's 2x squared times minus 3. All right, so if you multiply these two, it's going to be negative 6x squared. What are the factors of negative 6x squared? But when you add them, they must give you the middle term, which is 5x. All right, so we can try, it's actually a trial and error. List the factors of negative 6x squared. We've got negative 6x and x. We have got positive 6x and negative x. Since it's supposed to be negative 6, one is supposed to be positive, the other term is supposed to be a positive. All right, we have got negative 3x and 2x, or it can be positive 3x and negative 2x. So you list those factors, then you try now to add each and every part where are we going to have the middle term? That's a plus 5x if you add. Okay, so if we add here, we are going to obtain minus 6 plus 1 is actually minus 5. 6 here, this is actually 6 plus minus 1 is same as 6 minus 1, which is 5. So this is the part, these are the factors that are actually giving us the middle term, 6x and minus x. So you replace or you substitute these two terms into the middle term of 5x. So that means we are going to obtain 2x squared plus those two terms which we are substituting into the middle term, which is 6x and minus 1x or minus x, then later on minus 3. We now have 4 terms, just like the previous part, we group them into 2. What is common for the first 2 terms? That's what you're supposed to ask yourself here. 2 is common for 2 and 6. 2 is common, x is common, so it's 2x. So let's divide, guys. 2x squared divided by 2x. 2 and 2 cancel. X into x squared will be x plus 6 divided by 2, that is 3. X and x will cancel, so it's going to be x plus 3. Remember what I told you guys, you're supposed to make sure that this part here, whatever that you're going to get after factorizing must be the same as this bracket, which is x plus 3. So the negative is common and it's only -1. We do not have any number that is common, so we factor out -1. By factoring out -1, it's negative x divided by -1, which is a positive x. -3 divided by -1, which is a positive 3. So the two brackets are the same. So we simply factor out the common bracket, x plus 3. What do we remain with after factoring out? We remain with 2x here. And on this part, we remain with -1. So that's the same thing that you have to apply when dealing with these typical questions. Number 9 is just same as what we did there on question number 5, question number 4. So you can actually try out question number 9. But if there's a challenge, let us know, guys, on the comment section so that we can try and work out this together. Let's see number 10. There we are just given 2 terms, so it's actually direct there. On number 10, we are just given 2 terms. So simply factor out direct, guys. What is common between those 2 terms is 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared, of which we can see that 2 is common here, pi is common, r is common. So we can factor out 2 pi r. Okay. So that means if we divide 2 pi rh divided by 2 pi r, this will cancel, you remain with h. So this is going to be h plus, the same thing, we've got 2 pi r squared divided by 2 pi r, 2 pi and 2 pi will cancel. R into r squared, we are going to remain with 1 r. There are 2 of them, so you remain with 1. So this is going to be h plus r like that. Okay, so that's what you're going to have at the end. 2 pi r into h plus r. Number 11, same part, difference of 2 squares, guys. I want you to try. Number 12 is the same thing, difference of 2 squares, where you just have to write this as perfect squares. That's as squares. A squared 16 is same as 4 squared. So you've got 2 numbers a and 4. So one is going to add, another one is going to subtract. A plus 4 in one bracket, a minus 4 in the other bracket. That's it. Difference of 2 squares concept. So that was question number 12. Okay, question number 12 actually. Number 13, I want you to try. Number 13 is the same thing. Number 14. Number 15, we talked about this, just 2 brackets here, x plus 1 into x minus 1. Number 16 is the same thing again. Already it's x squared, y squared. So it's just going to be x plus y into x minus y. Okay, number 17, we have the same concept, guys, that we talked about, whereby we can just apply direct factorization, or you can do it the longer way. Remember, on direct factorization, I told you if it only applies, or you can only apply it when the coefficient of x squared or the coefficient of first term is 1. And in this case, we've got 1x squared. So you simply have 2 brackets. Do not worry about other part, just x here, you focus with 10. What are the factors of 10? But if you add them, they give you 7. We've got 5 and 2, -5 and -2, 10 and 1, -10 and -1. But which one of these pairs, if you add them, you obtain a positive 7? Definitely that's 5 and 2. So it's going to be +5 +2. You're done. So I want you to prove with the longer way. So guys, just prove with the longer way if you're obtaining the same answer. I think, yeah, that's the best way. Number 18 is still one and the same thing. We've got x squared minus x minus 30 there. So you can actually figure out here what is common, because the coefficient of x squared is 1. So all you just need are the two brackets. We've got your x here. Focus with -30. What are the factors of -30? But if you add them, they must give you -1. So it's a trial and error concept, guys. Try these numbers. Factors of -30, we've got -30 and 1. We've got 30 and 1, -1, -15 and 2, 15 and -2, -6 and 5, 6 and -5. There are so many factors. We've got 10, -10 actually, -10 and 3, 10 and -3. So there are so many, but which one, when we add, we obtain -1. So if we add, obtain it's -6 and 5. -6 plus 5, that's -1. So that means we're going to have -6 here plus 5. You're done. So prove again with the longer way and see if you're obtaining the same brackets, just like these ones. If you're obtaining the same brackets, then that means you're actually in the right way, or you're actually moving together. If not, then try to redo it again. Try to redo, guys, so that you actually have the same answers like the one that we just got there. All right, number 19, one is the same thing, but this one is that one which follows under the long division, the longer way, sorry. That's we are having 2x squared plus 9x, so it's plus 9x plus 4. So remember the longer way, I told you guys, you multiply the first term to the last term. So if we multiply this 2x squared times 4, that will be 2x squared. That will be 8x squared actually. Okay. So what are the factors of 8x squared? That when you add these two factors, you must obtain the middle term, which is 9x. Take note, the longer way, you consider x. On the shorter way, you don't consider x. Okay, so here we've got 8x and 1. Yes, these are the factors that we have. Let's see, 8x and x. If we multiply 8x squared, 8x and 1 and x here, which is 1x squared, actually it's going to be 8. We're going to have 8x squared. We've got 8x and x, which if we multiply x and x is going to be x squared. This is same as 1. So take note, we can write the 1 or you can choose not to write this one. So if we add 8x plus 1x, that's 9x. 8 plus 1, that's 9. So you replace these two terms into the middle term. So that means we can rewrite this expression as 2x squared. Then we can substitute these two terms into the middle term, which is 8x plus 1x, which is same as just writing as plus x. Okay, we have got 4 terms now, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can group them. Once you have 4 terms, whatever type of a person that you are given, as long it has got 4 terms, you answer that person by grouping. By grouping means you group them into 2. You've worked with the first 2 terms, then the last 2 terms. So from the first 2 terms, we can note that 2 is common between 2 and 8, and also x is common, so you can factor out 2x. Okay, 2x squared divided by 2x, 2 and 2 cancels. X squared divided by x, that is x plus 8 divided by 2, that is 4x, and x will cancel. So it's already we can see that we've got x plus 4. And here we've got x plus 4. So all you need is to factor out plus 1 so that it remains as x plus 4. Don't factor out a negative while you've got all positive numbers there. All right, anyways, x plus 4 is common. As we can see, these two brackets are the same. So that means we can factor out x plus 4. So if you factor out x plus 4, what do you remain with? From the first part, we have got 2x. And the other part, we've got 1. So this is going to be written as 2x plus 1. So that's your final answer there. So guys, these are the typical questions actually that you have. You can actually try and work out number 20. There is gonna be something else because those are big numbers, but try by all means to find the factors. Yes, you must find these factors. Try by all means, guys, to find these factors. I'm just going to end up with question number 21. But like I said, if there is a challenge, guys, let me know so that we can revisit these questions so that we can actually see what was supposed to happen. So make sure that you communicate so that we can have a revisit there. Okay, number 21, we're given 8 minus 10y plus 12x minus 15xy. Okay, so on these ones, we do have anything common, yes? So we've got common factors, yes, so you can group them into 2. So 8 minus 10y, we can try and check what is common. 2 is actually common here, not 4, but 2. So you can factor out 2. 8 divided by 2, that is 4, minus 10 divided by 2, which is 5. So it's going to be 4 minus 5y. Okay. On the other part, we are remaining with positive 12x and negative 15x. So let's start with the numbers first. 12 and 15. 3 is common here. And we've got x and x. X is common. So you can factor out plus 3x. So let's see if we factor out plus 3x, are we going to obtain the exact bracket as the first one? If not, then all you need is to interchange this positive to a minus. That's it. So, okay. So if we have 3x plus and plus, that's a plus. 12 divided by 3, that is going to be 4. X and x will cancel, okay? Minus 15 divided by 3. It's a positive 3 here. So it's 15 minus 15 divided by positive 3, which is going to be minus 5. Okay, x and x will cancel. That means you remain with y. So as you can see, guys, the brackets are the same. These two brackets are the same. So we can factor out that common bracket, 4 minus 5y. Then the other bracket is going to be these remaining terms, which is 2 plus 3x. Okay, so as you can see, guys, we are having final answer having 2 brackets from what we had. So that's what we actually had, guys, from the revision of factorization, working with quadratic expressions, working with difference of 2 squares, working with 4 terms, that is working with linear expressions and also quadratic at the same time. So you can actually revise, guys, as much questions as you can from your past exam papers. Then if you got challenge, let us know in the comment section, guys, so that we can work on those questions separately. But for now, that's it, guys, from us on African Motives. Till we meet again.